News was just announced that WNBA TV ratings are down more than 50% since Caitlin Clark's injury, and it was also reported that the Indiana Fever television viewership is also down over 53%. Now, I know a lot of us were expecting some sort of dip since Caitlin Clark has been out with injury, but I don't think all of us were expecting the entire viewership of the entire WNBA.
Look, the WNBA just got a massive reality check. Without Caitlin Clark, the whole thing feels like watching Netflix buffer forever. Playoff ratings didn't just dip, they plummeted. It's like your phone dying at 1% right at midnight. Fans aren't tuning in. They're either falling asleep or switching channels faster than a bad TV show. Are they gone for good, or just watching pickleball instead? Either way, this playoff mess has more drama than a wild reality show reunion.
Guys, today, is there any chance that the WNBA, that Kathy Engelbert saw some of the ratings that I'm about to show you now and said, hey, Indiana Fever, can you do us a favor? Can you do us a solid? Can you just tease a Caitlin Clark return, kind of boost these up a little bit? Can you just dangle a Caitlin Clark return in front of the fans' faces, try to boost these ratings up a little bit? There was one matchup that this league can consistently rely on to produce massive viewership numbers.
This season was supposed to be the WNBA's big moment, the year they finally stepped into the spotlight and proved they could compete. Instead, it feels like the whole league face-planted straight into a giant bucket of nacho cheese. And of course, they're trying to act like it was all part of the plan.
What a shocker! Imagine my surprise. Just imagine my surprise when Uncle Casey found out that the WNBA is struggling to maintain their ratings without Caitlin Clark. To make matters worse, and this is something I have definitely noticed in the last 3 or 4 weeks, especially since the All-Star game, the WNBA seems to be struggling to maintain interest.
Let's be real. The WNBA season this year has been a spectacular dumpster fire. If you were tuning in for quality basketball, you got injuries galore and foul calls that looked like the refs were wearing broken glasses. And don't forget a commissioner who acts like player health is just a suggestion. If you were watching for entertainment, you probably switched off the second Caitlin Clark spent more time on the bench than actually playing, because apparently her ankles became public property, with defenders treating her like a human crash test dummy.
When I think about Caitlin Clark, the operative word that comes to my mind is gratitude. There's an incredible level of gratitude that should be accorded to this young lady with what she did for the sport.
How was the attendance for Team USA in the Olympics? What would it have been like if Caitlin Clark was playing on that team? Remember the first game? Look at this right here. National broadcast viewership. What are we talking about here? 1,000, what is that? 1.219? Is that the number? And the game afterwards got 485,000. So the Fever and their game against the Minnesota Lynx was 1.219 million.
You know things are really bad when the most thrilling part of the season is fans wondering if the entire league will collapse before the playoffs even wrap up. Spoiler alert, it's barely hanging on, literally held together by a piece of duct tape that seems to scream. Please don't notice how messy this is.
The WNBA's black superstars should thank their lucky stars for the record ratings Caitlin Clark is detonating, even if new fans are mostly white fans. It doesn't matter what color eyeballs are. But the other day, I must admit, it hit me like Katie Bell Henderson telling me that's enough. I told myself it's not racist for me to like Caitlin Clark.
And speaking of chaos, what about the officiating this season? Oh man. The refs seriously look like they were pulled straight from a mall food court during lunch rush. One of them is probably still chewing a slice of pizza while trying to call a flagrant foul. Another looks like they thought they signed up to referee a roller derby. Consistency? Non-existent. Somewhere between a magic 8-ball and a fortune cookie. One game, a massive shove gets ignored. The next, someone sneezes too hard, and it's an ejection. If these refs had their own stat line this season, it would read, turnovers, 0, bad calls, every single possession.
The WNBA has a problem, and that problem is Caitlin Clark not playing in WNBA games. Now, what all does this affect? The ratings are plummeting. Guys, there's ratings for a couple of these games that are eye-poppingly.
Now, let's talk about the injuries because, wow, the WNBA this year looks less like a basketball league and more like an orthopedic surgeon's holiday wish list. Caitlin Clark has spent more time rehabbing than actually playing, mostly because defenders treat her like she owes them money. Every time she drives to the basket, it feels like a new episode of How Hard Can We Smash Caitlin Before the Ref Notices? Spoiler. The answer is harder than you'd think, and Clark isn't the only one getting hammered in this basketball apocalypse. Sophie Cunningham, who is supposed to be the shining star, the face of the future, the kind of player they put on posters, is now out for the entire season.
Gone. Done.
She's basically waving from the injury list like she's starring in a new series called Sophie's Torn Something. And honestly, you can almost hear the commissioner's office breathing a sigh of relief. One less star they actually have to market properly, and if Sophie's injury wasn't enough, Angel Reese just decided, you know what? I'm out. She quit mid-season. In most sports, that would be shocking. In the WNBA, it feels more like a reflection of the league itself. Because, let's be real, if the commissioner can't keep things running smoothly, if the refs are auditioning for clown school, and if players are dropping like flies on a hot July afternoon, why wouldn't someone decide to bail? Reese probably figured she'd rather spend her time on Instagram than risk another game where she gets body checked like she's trying out for the NFL.
That's not a trend that the WNBA is excited about. That's a trend that Kathy Engelbert would say, hey, Fever, hey, Lynn Dunn, hey, Kelly, hey, Amber, can you guys start dangling that Caitlin Clark return like you used to do? You know, before Caitlin Clark gave a statement and you guys were hands off. Can you guys, just string them along a little bit more? We want to get these ratings back up. We want to get these numbers back.
Here's the thing, none of this is happening in a vacuum. The WNBA has been asking for years to be taken seriously, to get the spotlight, to be treated like more than an afterthought. But the league isn't helping itself. The commissioner seems allergic to player protection, as if enforcing rules and safeguarding stars is too radical an idea. Imagine if the NBA let LeBron James get body checked on every possession without a whistle. The league would collapse faster than a cheap folding chair. In the WNBA, just another Tuesday night. And the ratings? That's where the comedy really writes itself. Early in the season, when Caitlin Clark was healthy and upright, viewership spiked. People tuned in to see if the hype was real. ESPN highlights made it to SportsCenter, Twitter exploded, and suddenly everyone acted like they understood a pick and roll. Then Clark got injured, and ratings dropped faster than Angel Reese's patience for finishing the season. It's almost as if the WNBA finally realized what happens when your marketing plan revolves around one player while your officiating plan is basically, let her get slammed every play. Some might argue injuries happen and fouls are part of the game. But this isn't just bad luck, it's bad leadership. The commissioner has been sitting back like a substitute teacher who lost control of the class. Instead of fixing issues, the league doubles down on ignoring them. Star players dropping out? Fine. Referees ruining games? Don't worry, the fans will stick around, right?
At Indiana against the Chicago Sky, right after that game, they opened an investigation once again into the fans where they found nothing, but the damage had already been done at that point. If some of these things happen just one time here and there, or there's one certain media personality who's just always saying these kind of things, then whatever. I feel like fans as a whole can be like, okay, whatever, this person is just a hater. But this is something that has happened over and over and over again. And over time, it starts chipping away at how much you're going to actually care and want to support an organization if they continue to do things like that.
So the players who are still healthy, they're basically forced to compete in games that look less like basketball and more like a mix of rugby and professional wrestling. Half the time, you can't even tell if you're watching a playoff matchup or WWE SummerSlam. You half expect someone to pull out a steel chair at any moment. Meanwhile, the commissioner is out there giving interviews about how the league is growing and building momentum. Sure, and I grow taller every time I wear high heels. Instead of protecting the stars, the season just spirals further into chaos. Cunningham is out, Reese has retired, and Clark has been absolutely hammered. What should feel like a playoff run ends up feeling more like a funeral march for what could have been. The saddest part, the players themselves deserve so much better. They're giving everything they have while the system around them crumbles. They don't deserve referees who whistle like it's a toddler's birthday party. They don't deserve leadership that treats their health like an optional side quest. And they definitely don't deserve a league that markets them when convenient, then abandons them when things get tough. Now, the WNBA season is limping to a close. Ratings are plummeting, stars are on the injury list, and fans are left shaking their heads, wondering if the league can survive another year like this. If this was supposed to be the season of growth, congratulations, the league grew into the biggest mess imaginable.
This Caitlin Clark thing, man, I mean, it's embarrassing. It is embarrassing what you guys have done. And then people are catching on to your tactics. You got the people on Twitter catching on to your tactics. Like, look at this right here. Look at this right here. They said ESPN didn't want to show the ratings were down from WNBA All-Star Game because Caitlin Clark didn't.
Maybe next year the commissioner will finally take player safety seriously. Maybe the referees will actually learn what a foul is. Maybe stars like Caitlin Clark can finish a season without getting sidelined or hurt. But until then, the WNBA is teetering on the edge. And it's not because fans don't care, it's because leadership doesn't. The league thought this would be the year of sold-out arenas, lines of fans outside like a new iPhone release. Instead, the reality has been empty seats echoing louder than any whistle. You could probably bring your whole extended family, your dog, even your neighbor's hamster, and still find a row with plenty of legroom, and the league acts like this is part of the plan. But without Clark drawing viewers, without Cunningham on the floor, and without some real excitement, ticket sales have collapsed faster than a Jenga tower in an earthquake. The funniest part? The league still tries to spin it. Social media posts roll out claiming, another exciting night of WNBA action. Meanwhile, fans in the comments are like, exciting where? At which game? In what universe? Memes of tumbleweeds rolling across empty seats dominate the replies. The league's own marketing has become a comedy show for fans who've clearly lost hope.
This mean, Rhodes? Well, how about this? Pay us what you owe us. That looks like a ham sandwich and some Lay's tater chips right now. It's getting bad. I feel bad for Caitlin Clark. She come out and said on Sue Bird's podcast that she's feeling the pressure of not playing in these games. And that Fever Sky viewership fell off the map.
And we can't forget the commissioner herself. Honestly, she deserves an award for pretending everything is fine. She gets on camera talking about how the league is in the best shape it's ever been. That's like the captain of the Titanic bragging about how great the ship looks underwater. Technically, it's still floating, but definitely not in a way anyone actually wants. The commissioner has become a master of denial, like a magician distracting you with card tricks while the stage burns down around you. And when people call her out, when fans demand accountability for injuries, poor officiating, and the lack of player protection, the response is either silence or some canned line about reviewing protocols, which basically translates to, we'll do nothing but use fancy words to make you feel like we did something. Now compare this to how other leagues handle their stars. The NBA bends over backward to protect its top players. Without your stars, ratings crash, ticket sales tank, and nobody watches. The NFL is the same. Quarterbacks are treated like priceless treasures. You so much as brush against Patrick Mahomes, and refs throw a flag instantly. Meanwhile, in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark gets body checked into the scorer's table, and the refs just shrug. Play on. Nothing to see here. No wonder fans are furious. No wonder people are tuning out.
I've got some good news and some bad news for those who are fans of pretend basketball. For those who are desperate to see the WNBA succeed, even though this dump of a league can't seem to get the hell out of their own way. Now, the WNBA, they refer to these people as fans, but the rest of us, we prefer to call them the mainstream media.
And let's take a moment to talk about the fans, because honestly, they deserve a medal. Imagine sticking with this league all season, buying tickets, jerseys, supporting the players, only to be met with chaos, injuries, empty arenas, and officiating that makes high school games look professional. Die-hard fans must feel trapped in a toxic relationship. They keep hoping for improvement, but instead the league keeps dropping the ball, breaking promises, and then blaming the fans for not being supportive enough. Protect Caitlin Clark, they cry. Where's the leadership? Why are ticket prices so high for games that feel like pickup basketball at the YMCA? And rather than addressing these issues, the league acts like the criticism doesn't exist, like a teenager ignoring chores until their parents give up. Then there's the looming question no one in the commissioner's office seems willing to answer. Is the WNBA on the verge of collapse? It sure looks that way. Financially, the league cannot survive another season like this. Ratings are down, ticket sales are embarrassing, star power is diminished, and momentum evaporated the moment Clark went down. IT feels like the league is hanging by a thread, while the commissioner stands above saying, "Don't worry, we're growing." Let's be real, if the WNBA fails, it won't be because fans didn't care. It won't be because women's sports can't succeed. It will be because league leadership failed the players, failed the fans, and failed itself. How do you build a sustainable league when every season feels like a new episode of Who's Injured This Time? How do you build loyalty when referees make games unwatchable? And how do you expand the sport when your stars are more likely to finish the season on crutches than lifting a trophy?
You see, this is exactly what we were talking about. WNBA All-Star ratings are in for 2025, and it is down 40%. 40% from last year. That's bad. That is really bad. We already watched the ticket prices drop by more than 50% because Caitlin Clark was not playing. This is bad news for the WNBA.
And let's not sugarcoat it. This season has already been a complete failure. No PR spin can change that. You can't just slap a fresh coat of paint on a crumbling building and call it a mansion. The WNBA can hype the playoffs, run marketing campaigns, and tweet about record-breaking moments all they want. But fans see the reality. This season has been one long blooper reel. What makes it worse is the wasted opportunity. Caitlin Clark brought people in. She got casual fans invested again. This was the real chance to show the world the WNBA could shine. Instead, the league failed to protect its players. Want to know how to kill fan loyalty? Charge top-dollar prices for games that feel more like chaotic, unpolished basketball, just with better uniforms. It's a masterclass in self-sabotage. The sad part? It doesn't have to be this way. With strong leadership, referees who actually enforce the rules, and a commissioner who prioritizes player safety, the WNBA could absolutely thrive. Instead, we're stuck watching a slow-motion collapse, one injury at a time.
So all of you guys can sit there and say, oh, you guys are just trying to uplift one player. Oh, the league is more than one. I agree, the league is more than one player. It's more than one good basketball player. But is there more than one player that moves the tide? No.
As the season drags toward its messy finish, let's be honest, it's a disaster. A spectacular, ridiculous, embarrassing disaster. The commissioner can talk all she wants about growth, but fans see the real picture. And unless something truly changes, unless there's a serious overhaul, unless the league stops treating its stars like disposable pieces, this chaos isn't going anywhere. But if this season proved anything, it's this. No matter how much hype you create, no matter how many stars you market, it doesn't mean a thing if you can't protect them. Until that changes at a fundamental level, the WNBA will keep stumbling year after year, leaving fans wondering why they should even bother watching.